Democracy is a system of government by the whole population or all the eligible members of the state, typically through elected representatives. Democracy aims to bring the most benefits to the most number of people. These include protecting the interests of citizens, preventing abuse of power, promoting equality, creating stability. Democracies should protect the best interests of the people, gender, sexuality, religion, or political opinion.
Having an opportunity to live in a democratic country, Filipinos are able to experience the right having the power to be part of the political context of the country. In the Philippines, people can vote to elect officials and make decisions to reflect the wishes of the people. Everyone's got the chance to vote on an outcome decision, and people can express their right to protest, as the Constitution guarantees freedom of speech, past and thought. However, throughout the years, democracy in the country had been unstable, violated. Starting the martial law proclamation during Marcos regime and also in the Duterte administration. Democracy remains stable as a result of being abusive who is in power. This result to a common people experience undemocratic practices such as those that related to gender biases, poverty, and racial inequality. Gender biases is actually one of the undemocratic practices has been existent. Throughout the years, gender biases have been one of the most primordial issues in every country. Although today, different countries have made steps to stop the discrimination by making laws, improving women's rights, gender biases is still going on. When the democracy is introduced, gender biases is already present. Women have no power to vote and crucial to participate in any political matters. The reason is the perception that women's sole purpose was to bear a child and expected to spend almost all her time at home. In the Philippines, on September 17, year 1937, women's suffrage was legalized after the required threshold for the plebiscite of 300,000 was met. On the other hand, in terms of women participation in any political matters, although the Philippines appears to be ahead of its neighboring countries by having 2 women presidents already, the slow increase in women's representation in politics may be attributed to prevailing patriarchal norms and values and gender stereotypes. Gender stereotypes that consider women as weak and emotional, that are undesirable in negotiation and decision-making, discourage voters from voting for women candidates. Poverty is a state of circumstances in which an individual or society lacks the financial means and necessities for a basic level of living. Poverty is defined as having an income level from employment that is so low that fundamental human needs cannot be satisfied. Poverty, just 7 letters yet, it affects millions of people. A simple word with a huge global influence and threat. Our country made up approximately 7,000 islands. Philippines was worldwide poverty, healthcare, and education challenges.
Inequality, poor education, the government's limited capability, a lack of infrastructure, and other factors contribute to poverty. Our country poverty rate is currently projected to average between 15.5% and 17.5% in 2021. This is a major riddle that the government is still trying to solve. We won't be able to have it easy, but we can take it slow. Let us utilize our voices to aid them. Little things may make big difference. We are now 10 years away from meeting the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, the first of which is to end poverty in all its manifestations worldwide. These are a few important remedies to poverty that are essential to achieving this aim. Building resilience, climate and otherwise, but especially focusing on climate change. Increase access to education. Improve food security and access to clean water. End war and conflict. Embrace cash and microfinance.
Racial equality, under the circumstances of not having the full participation and not totally being represented, gender biases is not only subject, but is related within undemocratic practices. Racial inequality is actually one of the undemocratic practices that is being associated. In our country, having a total of 175 ethnic groups, racial inequality is still present in the current time. Soldiers in our country allegedly detained and beat 3 indigenous people in Zambales province, northwest of Manila, and forced 1 detainee to human pills. The incident occurred on August 21 after the Philippine military began counterinsurgency operation against the communist New People's Army in an area populated by the Eta indigenous group, according to non-governmental organization that advocates for land rights. The Philippine Army denied the accusations, saying that its operations, including bombings, were directed against the New People's Army, not the Eta community. The Philippine security forces having a long history of committing abuses against indigenous communities throughout the country. In recent years, military and paramilitary forces have bombed indigenous areas, destroyed indigenous schools, and murdered educators, harassed tribal leaders who speak out against the government by accusing them of being communists, and killed tribal activists who opposed the operations of mining and other extractive industries. This particular controversy is actually a great evidence and support to the fact that racial inequality are still present in our current time. I am Joshua Thomas from 12 Understanding.